Hello everybody, welcome back to Action Jack Media. Today we're going to do more Ben 10 aliens as monsters. I'm not going to waste your time with a bunch of intro. I hope you enjoy this one. Let's get right into it. Tetramora are a very unique species of fanged beasts, featuring no fur but instead sporting a hard carapace that it uses for protection and for intimidation. Tetramora can most commonly be found in desert environments, but some have been spotted in mountainous regions as well. These brawny monsters are quick to anger and can often be seen fighting hand-to-hand and tooth and nail to defend their territory. However, it is not the smaller, more tan-colored Tetramora that hunters should fear, for there is a much more terrifying version of the Tetramora, a rare variant called the Crimson Hide Tetramora. This variant only occurs when a Tetramora is born fused with its twin, creating a fearsome, four-armed, four-eyed monster that is fueled by rage and its lust for battle. Witness reports said that this variant can go toe-to-toe with a furious Rajang and lift a Diablos over their head with ease. Hunt with extreme caution. So, forearms. I felt like I kind of had to break the general rule of sticking with a skeleton type that already exists in Monster Hunter for this guy. I felt like he would fight similarly to Rajang and to the Fang Beasts and stuff, but there were no skeletons that had 6 limbs like that, and I didn't want to make him an insect, and I didn't want to make him an elder dragon, because forearms isn't that powerful, and he's definitely not an insect, so I figured I would break the rules and kind of make him a, like, special variant version of an existing monster that, like, only occurs by random chance, right? It's kind of like the Bloodbath Diablos type thing, where it's like a random encounter that happened to, freak of nature type thing. There are multiples of them, but they're super rare. And I also wanted to, introduce the idea of mutations and stuff to the Monster Hunter world with this, showing that if I'm going to break this rule, I might as well break it fully and say, like, okay, well, we're going to have to introduce a new skeleton to make this possible in-game, right? So why not just introduce a whole new mechanic of, like, oh, monsters can be born with mutations. Also similar to, what is it, the Yangaruga half Rathalos or half Rathian variant? I can't remember what it is exactly. But that one, is also kind of a mutation, so I think it fits within the Monster Hunter lore decently well. The elusive Ectoneurlos is a monster straight out of the nightmares of even the most experienced hunters. Some say that it's a myth, but those who have seen it in person know better. This snake wyvern lives deep underground in desert environments, only coming to the surface at night to shed their skin and mate. Leading researchers believe this behavior is caused by their extreme sensitivity to sunlight and heat. Ectoneurlos also have a paralytic bite and acidic claws. If you ever encounter one of these in the wild, be sure to steer clear of its swipes. The most peculiar attribute of the Ectoneurlos, however, is not its offensive abilities, but its defensive intimidation abilities. Most notably, its neck. Hunters have reported that its head can rotate 180 degrees or more vertically, giving its face the appearance of an inverted skull. This horrific appearance is hypothesized to be used as a method of keeping predators away from its nest and to strike fear into the hearts and minds of its prey. Ghost Freak was difficult. I struggled a lot trying to find a skeleton that worked. I was thinking, oh, I could make it maybe a Leviathan, or some unique thing like they did with the Witcher, update or whatever. Make it the I forget what it was, the Lich or something like that. It wasn't the Lich, but I can't remember the name of it. But I eventually settled on Snake Wyvern, so it would give us the long whip-like tail that Ghost Freak has, and lack of hind limbs. I also really like the idea of this thing only being able to be hunted at night, because obviously Ghost Freak is sensitive to light, and that you would start out the battle with it covered in its skin, and then the more that you damaged it, the skin would start to shed away, similar to how Ghost Freak has his, I guess you would call it the premature, unhusked form, or I guess pre-shucked, if you want to compare it to corn. But as you fight the monster, it would rip its own dead skin off and reveal the more horrific, more Zaskare-looking Ghost Freak-looking form underneath, and it would become more enraged and, a little bit more difficult to fight as you went along. I also imagine that this thing's roar would be absolutely terrifying. So, yeah, I really enjoyed making it look like Ghost Freak, but something that could actually maybe exist in the Monster Hunter world, and I hope you enjoy. The ever-hungry Gourmaton comes in two very distinct flavors: Merc Gourmaton and Perk Gourmaton. Merc Gourmaton live in drier environments on land and are the darker green of the two amphibian monsters, often sporting a hefty underbite and a straight tail, and the Perk Gourmaton prefer a more wet climate and sport an overbite and a curly tail, as well as the lighter skin pigment. Both of these monsters use their many tongues to ensnare small prey and large amounts of plant matter and sometimes even rocks and soil, which is then pulled into their multi-chambered stomachs and partially digested and redigested over long periods of time. And eventually, the majority of their food is processed, but a small portion of it is left behind in a small organ near their mouths so that they can use it as highly acidic projectiles. I got the idea for Upchuck in part by one of the comments on the last video from a user named B-Bomb. So shout out to you, B-Bomb. Thank you so much for helping me brainstorm with Upchuck. And they were talking about how we could do Spitter in the future and things like that. and suggested that Upchuck intake a lot of different things, and his attacks would be different and have different effects based on what he's eaten, right? If he eats, poisonous plant or something in the environment, it creates a poison pellet. Or, if he intakes a lot of water, it, can shoot out a water beam or a water blight pellet type thing. So depending on, what environment you're in, fighting the Gourmaton could be a pretty interesting fight, similar to Mutation with the throwing of the fruits and everything. So here are all of our monsters from today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this episode a lot. I had a lot of fun making this episode, and if you noticed a theme, every single monster here had 2 forms. That was kind of the theme for this episode. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, share it with your friends and all that. I really want to see your feedback in the comment section below. Especially, I want to know what you want to see next. If you want me to make monsters into aliens, I think we need another one of those episodes soon. I also had the idea of turning the monsters that I've already done, the Ben 10 aliens, into monsters, turning those into armor sets, and maybe even a couple of weapons, because that's a big part of Monster Hunter that I think I'm missing out on with this, is designing the armor sets. So that could be really cool. I also have a lot of ideas coming up in the future, so stay tuned for more Ben 10 content. I'm really on a Ben 10 kick recently, the last year or so. So I hope that's okay with y'all. I don't want to pigeonhole myself too much into the Ben 10 corner, but I am having a lot of fun here, so I hope you all are enjoying it as well. Otherwise, I think I have said all I need to say, so I will see you next time. Peace.